welcome back to the Coa Sports League.
Welcome back to the Coa Sports League.
We've got live broadcasts like you've never seen before.
Sinclair's holding them off. Cohen's off the front. Giuliano up the inside. Looks like Giuliano's going to time that attack perfectly.
We've got a pre-show like you've never seen before.
And in the race tonight, Alessio has a victim, and he's beaten him twice out of 2 times they've ever raced, and that's Yuri. So he's got the wood, as we like to say. We've got live workouts like you've never seen before. Seconds to go, 7 seconds to go. Start to grit those teeth, and you've just got to loosen the grip and push a little bit harder.
Performance verification like you've never seen before. Hang on. Whoa. Wait, hey. Mate, you're in the book. What's your Valentine? Right, you're in the book, mate. You're in the book. Kent Cross, you're in the book.
And it's all free.
And it's all free.
And welcome to the Coa Sports Community Race on a Friday morning in Australia and Thursday night in the US of A. I'm a little bit hungover, Tim and Kappa.
Why?
I'm a little bit hungover. I've been out celebrating all night. I had to drink a whole bottle of $4 champagne. So welcome, Tim and Kent, to the broadcast.
I saw you just tip the remainder of that bottle out last night, but well done to the New South Wales Blues. Looks like they've probably done the old clean sweep, but yeah, congratulations. And of course, last night, stunning race and a great result, of course. Same course as we're doing today, so 2 laps of Astoria Line 8, and it's all down to that finish line, isn't it, Greg? It was
absolutely
on, and then Britain just snuck up on the inside of Messineo there in the final moments. But we're going to take a look at that in the pre-show. But before we do that, we've got a few things to get through, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. So plenty happening. If you want to join the Coa Sports League and you haven't done so already, coasportsleague.com. That will get you in there for that verified race on a Thursday. And we have over 150 starters in this evening or this morning, wherever you are in the world as well. So huge paddock and a lot of those heavy hitters from the Zwift community coming in hot, Tim.
Yep, Kappa, do a little roll call. You're here, mate. Roll call.
Yep.
Kappa's here, mate.
Present.
Let's have a look, you and I, at the ride through, mate. Let's do something a bit different. Greg can now have a little bit of a spell for a few minutes.
Happy with that.
Rightio, let's take a look at the course for tonight. We're, of course, doing 2 laps of Astoria Line 8. So, by the old scale, it's 11.5 kilometres per lap and 129 metres. So, by my really good maths, that's 23 kilometres total and 260 metres. Let's have a look now at the ride-through. And a bit of a fun fact as we kick things off and we move on through. So, they'll roll on out, of course, the paddock. It's a hard and fast start. But interestingly, Kappa, that Astoria Line 8's named after New York City's first subway line. It covers all the ground level roads in Central Park, and it's created from all the GPS data of the actual park roads.
It's pretty impressive, Tim. How long did it take you to find that out?
About 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And what it tells me is I don't want to ride my bike around the park because this is a very hard course. There it is right there at 3.3 kilometres. That's already when you start to get a little bit of attrition and they start to come down the other side there. So it's a real pack splitter. This course, like you'll get a lot of smaller packs. And here comes the Mac Daddy of them all at 4.7 kilometres. It hits 8% as it's a long ramp. So it really starts to stretch out.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of rollers in this course, and it's not one, I think, for the sprinters, because as you'll see later on towards the finish, it's an uphill battle. So, yeah, you really want to bring your climbing legs for this one.
Spoiler alert indeed. It is an incredible finish line. But at 7.3 kilometres as well, we have a real doozy coming up, which we'll roll on up in a second. But it's just a relentless course. Of course, the famous Zwift team as well. But it's relentless. It never lets up. It's always this long sweeping drag. This is really the last chance they get on this lap to sort of settle the legs, spin that cadence out. And they're starting to wind up. Teams will start to organise. But importantly, right coming up now is a Sprint Com banner. And that is the last last chance that they get, of course, to pick up the final power-up. And, of course, you probably want that feather power-up at this finish line.
Yeah, you definitely want the feather power-up. No XP points for this one. So as they come up to the finish line in the next few seconds, you'll see it takes a little left-hand turn. And you want to have that power-up ready to go. So full power, bust those watts up right to the finish line.
Few big hitters in the field this evening, and we want to highlight a few of those athletes now. First one is a man named Kevin Hodges out of the US of A. He's a veteran, 73 kilograms, 149 races. So he is putting up the 1.5 ton in this event in the Coles Sports Community Race this evening. Started Zwifting in 2018. Yes, for everyone out there, he is related to Brian Hodges, I'm reliably told. Races for the Fount Cycling Guild in Seattle. Third time out, last in the Coles Sports race, always right there in that top 20 mix for the sprint finish. Packs a huge sprint, 16 watts a kilo up to the line. So watch out for Kevin as they rip it up around Astoria Line. Next athlete is a man who finished third last night, Juan Cruz Araldi, an Argentinian. We didn't quite have the Diego Maradona photo or the Messi photo, so here's a great pic of Juan right there. Master, 81 kilos, 35 races deep in his Zwifting career, and last 10 starts, 2 wins, 1 silver and 2 bronze. An unbelievable performer in every race he gets to. New to the esports world, definitely. Looking forward to some big results and part of this all South American team, Team Melatonin. So looking forward to seeing Juan out there on Astoria Line once again. No doubt a little bit more experience from what he gained last night in that huge event. Last athlete out of Canada is Barry Smith. Now, Barry Smith, that would be a name, Tim and Kappa, that would be very well suited to Australia. Bazza. So welcome, Barry. Master, 67 kilos, 109 races, last 10 starts, picked up 3 third placings. Now, Barry will race in the B category. Expect to see him right at the front of that group, so stick on his wheel if you see him out there. Part of this amazing team now that's coming along week after week after week, and another 10 athletes in this morning, Team Relentless, and his best result here has been here in the Coles Sports League. So watch for Barry. It brings that broadcast FTP out. Looking forward to seeing him smash it out in B grade tonight. All the best.
Kilo by Sproul. Jason's coming back. Chris is coming back over the top.
Here we go, Tim and Kappa. What an exciting field of athletes we have got lined up here. They are about ready to blow up some trainers, and good to see a few Coles Sports jerseys in the front of that group as well. It's getting harder and harder every week, Tim, to get to the front of the start gates, I've noticed.
Yeah, it must be getting slightly better weather with our American and Canadian friends, and which is good to see. More people getting out on the road, obviously, as well, with some easing of restrictions. So probably, we get, mid-hundreds, maybe around 100 out the gates here, and we'll be following A grade, of course, up the road, and we'll try and get back, of course, and finish and get as many finishes as we can, a bit like we did last night. I know we've got Boniface certainly in there. Big start there by even 8.4 watts per kilo. kilo. Johnson lays it down at 8.5 watts per kilo. Sproul's in there, Day and Hodges, who we previewed obviously pre-race as well. So nice big start there off the front there by Ivany and Stretton. Looks like Stretton's turned up this morning again. So good to see Stretton now part of Team Aero. Ciano, the Zwift kid out of Commonwealth Bank, of course. Glavac. Endo, I believe, is sharing the stream, so shout out to Endo, Aritz, Raf, and of course Lenoir.
Yeah, huge paddock there. 129 starters, and this front group will thin out as we start to hit some of these little climbs that you and Kappa really did a great job there talking through. Aidan Sinclair in there.
Back to back.
He's up again. Great race.
Yeah, really, really solid Aiden last night, and loved that finish, and just got his timing right.
Did you see
his timing right?
He's got a little orange tick next to his name now.
Oh, hang on a second. What is this orange tick? Does that mean he's a pro now? Is that what we're going with? He's an approved Zwifter.
It's basically a verified approved
I wonder
Zwifter.
who I need to send an email through to get one of those little ticks, Tim, eh?
I think you have to be of a certain level.
That might be the first issue.
I think you actually have to be good.
And actually race.
If you're good at
maybe
helps.
they should have a commentator's pick, just a set of headphones thrown in there. That'd be nice. You see, shout out to Dave Towell, who Towell, is that right, Tim? Has joined us this evening or this morning, wherever he is in the world.
Butcher names, so definitely don't ask me. Kappa, mate. So 2 laps out here on Astoria Line, and didn't we see a lot of action early on last night? So same course on that very first climb at sort of around 4 kilometres. Everything started to stretch out very early, and some very similar names in there again. So Del Santo we've seen before, Johnny out of Relentless, NSW, and the Zwift kids. So just names we're really coming to know, and guys like Sproul as well, expect them because whilst there's a bit of a kick at the finish, Boniface is going to be hard to beat tonight.
He does some races, Brett Boniface. Oh my God, he's in and out every race you see on Zwift.
He has a team named after him in the league. It's called Brett Boniface.
Really?
The team is called Brett Boniface, and he's not in it.
That's the best.
It's one of the great.
That's the best.
It's one of the great P155 takes I've ever seen. So Alex Side and those boys.
If you need to take a minute there to work out the P155, just write those numbers and letters down, and you'll work it out. That is a very Australian.
I think they'll work it out just fine. And welcome along, of course, to Nathan Guerrera, who of course had little sleepy poos last night, and but that's okay, mate. So. Good to see you joining in, mate, and plenty of comments coming through on Koa Sports and Zwift Community Live as well. So we'll certainly refer to those. So like we always say, if you've got any really hard questions, Kent can address those.
Yeah, absolutely. So this course definitely rolls along. It's that little bit of elevation there, that top section of the screen, only 13 metres at the moment, but that will pop up over 200 as this race goes on. So certainly some good, heavy little hills. There's a little 8% kicker that drags them right out as well. And good to see the Ferrari back in there as well. He'll be representing tonight or this evening, wherever he is in the world. I should have said this morning, but there you go. So, and who's at the back of their yellow Tron bike, Koa Sports jersey? I'm not too sure who that is.
Maybe not.
Not Pikey. He'll have the teardrop on for sure. Of course. For sure.
Yeah, here we go, up a little 4% gradient. So we'll go through exactly what you're looking at on screen in a second. But we've got Stretton there moving straight off the front there, 14 watts per kilo, if you don't mind. Just throwing it down early, not happy with this easy riding at the start. Easy riding for me to say. Armchair expert I am. 2 seconds now back.
Huge attack.
Stretton's a really quality rider, and picked up there by Team Aero. Under 19 rider, 8.2 watts per kilo. Asking Boniface the question, will you come across and join me? We might have a breakaway here of 4 or 5 riders.
We saw in this race last week that the dropouts with Boniface, and haven't seen Alex Side in there. Don't know where he is, but saw him launch an attack last week for Boniface and a couple other riders. This is a big gap. This is out to 11 seconds, if you don't mind. So this is huge. This is absolutely massive. Now, how long are they going to let him go for? That is the next question on everyone's lips.
Well, they pick up, obviously, the way that the Zwift works as well, so they can see the carrot up the road there. So 11's probably a little bit
let's come back to 2. That's great.
We've got 2 riders. We'll try and pick that up in a second. But you've got Boniface there responding at 9.7 watts per kilo. So here's the response, Greg. So they don't want to let Stretton get too far up the road. That is for sure. So we'll try and pick him up. We're going to get some ducking and weaving. So 6 6 seconds now up to Stretton and 1 second back. So we've got a little bit of a spread here. We've got a chasing pack, and then we've got riders in no man's land in the middle trying to bridge up to Stretton, who really asked the question early. And here comes a really decent climb. We get 8-10%ers straight through here. This is a tough section.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to Dallas. He was the Carl Sports athlete on the green Tron bike with the Israel flag in there as well. So good to see him in there. And Cormy Makio, he's in there representing the great the great country of Ireland, and obviously late night over in Ireland at the moment.
Sinclair here at 172 beats per minute, so you can see top left, that's the rider data. So Aidan Sinclair at the moment holding about 500 watts, 90 RPM and 174 beats per minute, so all that data pushing through nicely. We've got plenty of action there going off the front there, so we've got 3 seconds now up to Stretton and Baldwin. This is such as the nature of this course with the sort of figure 8, is we do get some crossover with other riders, so we'll try and walk you through that. But there's the front of the race right now. So Johnson did manage to raid Stretton in Baldwin, then 6 seconds back to Hodges, Ivany, and Bateman's bike something.
Yeah, so group of 2 now, Johnson and Baldwin pushing off the front here. Can Stretton come back across that gap? He's pushing 4.5 watts a kilo at the moment. Dalton Stretton obviously lit this race up really early there. That was amazing. And thinned that front group right out to only about 30 riders left in that front group now. And you can see that top right-hand corner really starting to stretch out as Stretton still just in no man's land at 2 seconds back. And then back to that main chase pack with Glavac, Boniface, Makio, Day, and a few other riders in there too.
Now, I remember certainly Baldwin a few weeks back out on Harrogate in the yellow kit. I do actually recall that, and really laid it down early and applied pressure. And Harrogate, of course, is not an easy course as well. It's, of course, got that com right smack bang in the middle. And these guys are now breaking away now 7 seconds. And low cadence there on Johnson at the moment. We drop back to this chase pack. Aidan Sinclair now just rolling through of Team Canyon. Wears the kits? Not too sure. Shouldn't Sinclair be wearing the Canyon
Well,
kit?
he's
obviously
he's obviously on a bit of, only being a 16-year-old man. He's had 2 cans last night after that race. He's still in his New South Wales kit representing from last night. So I'm sure that he'll be sorted with a Canyon development team kit as that comes through the game.
Don't worry,
as
Aidan.
it comes up the chute.
We'll let Reese know that you forgot to put the Canyon and so you can get a clip from your boss, because that is just not good enough. No, Baldwin there just charging ahead now, Baldwin and Johnson. So they're 6 seconds up the road, and I think they're starting to take turns, but a very, very high quality chase pack. 7 seconds back to Stretton, Sinclair, Ivany as well. So
interesting to see there. Johnson, 120 beats a minute. We won't look at the heart rate too much there. But Baldwin, 7 watts and 6 watts a kilo, these guys, as they push hard to bridge
that's
a bigger
there's your
gap.
heart rate, 180
That's the
beats
proper
per minute.
heart
So,
rate coming through.
Johnson's taking a leaf out of my book there, where the heart rate just completely goes on the wahoo.
We won't go into that.
I've cooked 4 heart rate monitors in a year, so I can sympathise with
that's
you there.
That's his excuse for retiring from Zwift Racing, ladies and gentlemen. Right there, he just can't get a heart rate to work, so he's going to get an assistant just to take his pulse in the racing from now on. Is that the new? That's the new heart rate.
Hard riding here, and they're working together. See how Baldwin now takes a turn up the front, so just allows there. So you see that change there. So Johnson there to 10.3 watts per kilo. So
hard.
just taking turns and not letting up. Out to 11 seconds now, the chase pack. But Boniface, Sproul, Hassan, Day, Yoni, and Glavac, jeepers. So this is going to be, that's exactly right. So we'll see what winds up.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely leading out that pack there. We're coming up, you can see on the left-hand side, that's where we started all of about 8.5 minutes ago. So these guys will wind their way around to finish lap 1. Look at that front group. It's under 20 riders. Unbelievable.
Chase back here, Boniface, Yoni, Araldi. So can they rein these 2 riders in? They can certainly see them up ahead. So you'd suspect that is good enough. And his heart rate is off, but that's okay, because sometimes you get a little
Answer me this. Dalton Stretton is able to throw through that comment on a keyboard while he's at 180 beats a minute.
Yeah,
the hell?
They're starting to close this down there. They're starting to close this down. That's getting a lot tighter, Greg, there than it was about a minute ago. So starting to close that down. They're going to take this left-hand turn and wind their way through towards the end of this first lap. Still about 3 kilometres to go on this first lap, and we'll definitely start to see some overlap with some of the some of the B, C, and D riders.
Yeah, that's the thing about this course. You'll see some other groups getting past as we go around. And it's definitely a figure 8 course, and good to see Aiden Sinclair just holding back there on the front of that group. Chase group back there, 40 seconds back now. So Corey Dams, we've highlighted him before in this event. Raf, I'm going to try this one. Fukabasi out of Argentina in that group as well. So strong group coming back there. And Kappa, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Sinclair's one to watch today. He's already had the experience from yesterday, and so far he's just been sitting at the back, nice low heart rate, and hasn't really been pushing it. So I think he's saving himself for the finish.
Yep, good point. Absolutely great point. So he's been doing a lot of racing. So these front two are definitely going to get reeled back in, no doubt about it. There is a third rider going across there, I believe.
Yes, there is.
Try and get eyes on him. And
he's gone just past Baldwin at the moment. We can see Baldwin in the yellow kit, and they've just rolled on up through. So now we've got the Zwift kid, Ciano. Ciano now rolls through.
Never seen him gone this early before, so they're burning all their matches here, these guys laying it down.
Well, yeah, it's amazing. So you turn a group of 2 into a group of 3, and I think it really changes the dynamic because all of a sudden you just get that extra sort of 20 to 30 seconds rest. So you're only having to come to the front every, say, minute or so. And, interesting to see. But Z Johnson there got the tick from Zwift, 6.2 watts per kilo. Jeepers creepers on Zwift Power Live, averaging over 400 watts in the first part of this. That is absolutely humming here out in the community race. So let's just see how that unfolds. We got Sproul there in the chase pack with Hassan, Ivany, Hodges, Araldi, and a couple of Hodges in there, it looks like, or that's just moving around.
Just a bit of info there on Zach Johnson, Tasmanian cyclist out of that WP Tas team, signed with Trinity Road Cycling Team in the UK in December, and has done a fair chunk of training with one of the best Australian athletes ever to grace the cycling world, Richie Port. So he's definitely comes from a pedigree of strong racing there. Only 19 years of age.
I'm a bit flat.
So
I thought you were going to say me.
I'll leave it there. We'll leave it there. So, and good to see Sprowley in that front group as well. Sproul often pushes the biggest watts of his life in these races. So great to see. He's been a supporter of this race since day dot, nearly 12 months ago now. So good to see him. And Aiden Sinclair just yo-yoing a little bit off the back and rolling back to the group there as well. So front group down to a very small select group of athletes. And here comes the time. Not too far up the road. Here's this sprint section, so I pick up another power-up very shortly. So expect to see some power-ups being dropped as they go up to that line there.
Yeah, join the Coa Sports League now at coasportsleague.com. You can jump in there and join some of our verified races. And just following this race as well, we have a race where you can do the double, so to speak. So nice little tight race, that one. Not huge numbers, but it's pretty popular. It's
my
pretty popular
course.
with a lot of the riders. They sort of come across. It makes for a pretty handy hour and a half trainer set, that is for sure. So jump across there, of course, and get involved in the Coa Sports League. It is free. It is free to join. So draft bus being played. We're going to pick up some riders here on the left, and plenty of wind burn on the way through. So Zach Johnson just happy to sort of stick it out there and just catch me if you can, guys.
Yep.
I'm just going to be the rabbit up the road, and a ride on nice little give there for Zach Johnson up the road. So can they rein Johnson in? So we're coming towards the end of the first lap, so you get a bit of a look here at what the style of finish is with that really powerful ramp.
Yeah, so some big hitters in the sprint world here coming through as well. So watch for Boniface in that last bit. But take this little left-hander here, and then we get that it's a tough kick up to the line. So going to see, there's Hassan in there too, Tim, the French athlete.
Yep.
And he will be figuring in the finish, no doubt, as well. So, and then back at the end, the tail end of that group in the AHDR jersey, I can see Creel. He is a phenomenal streamer. He streams most of his races too, so keep an eye out.
Watch for orange lights on the right-hand side as they work their way up here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%. So this is the finish line that we'll see only in about 14 minutes' time. So Z Johnson there just laying it down.
They think it's a one-lapper, Tim. They think it's a one-lapper.
Ciano there tries to bridge across back to Day, Sproul, Hassan, Stretton of Team Aero, and Baldwin now sitting back in the pack. You can see him mid there in the yellow kit and stretching it out well and truly. So high-quality racing here in the Coa Sports Warrior race.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and shout out to the great BG, Brandon Geriel, the male model for 2 Times You, I'll add in. He'll not 2 Times You, for Fitness First.
I was going to say.
Fitness First Australia, same thing.
Oh, it's a much higher bar for 2 Times You, let me tell you.
Well, we won't go into that. But, yeah, shout out to Brando. Race last night, and don't know what happened. I didn't see a result come through, so he might have fallen off his trainer. But training for a solo Ironman at the moment, which is pretty interesting, is Brando, and going to tackle that in 6 weeks' time in Manly in Sydney.
Good on him.
Yeah, not much racing going on, so just invent your own.
Good on him. Good on him. So we saw, obviously, this morning, for those triathletes out there, we saw Taupo and Kona get pushed back a little bit, which is of no real surprise, quite frankly. So we saw that get announced. So it'd be interesting to see the sort of the wash up and just get the popcorn out and watch the comments flow through. And it's always a bit of fun on a Friday night. So just let those comments build and go back and have a bit of a squiz. So here we go. We're all back together, Greg, after all that action there in the second half of that first. Johnson says, well, I'm here, just so you know, and now I'm just going to rest my legs for the next 10 minutes or so, and bang, I reckon he's going to go early again.
I reckon being a professional athlete on the road circuit, he will have plenty more juice in those legs, but a huge effort. I mean, coming up lap 1, he's pushing 11 watts a kilo over the start-finish line just to let everyone know who he is, and no doubt that pain cave is getting lit up at the moment, so great to see him in the pack.
Yeah, we'll try and pull up some of the Zwift Live stuff going on. So if you go to Zwift Power, of course, they've got that handy functionality where they've got a live element to some of the races, and you can pull that up. So it's a good way if you're watching the races like the Chop, things like that, where you can watch down how they try and chase down different packs, and it's a good way to get some live data as well with a lot of the riders. So we'd like to claim that we know all this stuff off by heart, but most definitely rely on a lot of resources to try and pull it all together. So Ciano, after those early attacks, now sitting towards the back of that pack, and Aiden Sinclair riding very, very, very smart. I haven't seen him really come through. He's in the aero tuck as well. This is just smart. So I wouldn't be surprised if when we go back and look at Aiden's data at the end of this race, is that to see that he's got quite a low average power or average low average watts per kilo. And you look at guys like, say, Guerra as well, who's extremely experienced.
Did he finish second?
Often in the top 2 or 3 at the moment, yet of the top 10 has the lowest watts per kilo.
Wow.
And you often get that question as a coach, like, oh, what the hell, that can't be right. It's just really smart. Sitting in at the right time and just waiting to drop the hammer. You got it. Geez, these days in A grade, if you can't do 14 watts per kilo for about 20 seconds, you're nowhere.
Forget it.
So I might as well just retire.
Forget it. Do you crack 10? You ever crack 10 in a sprint?
Never.
You'll get there one day.
Never even come close.
Shout out to David Kimamato and giving the Zwift kid, Anthony Ciano, a shout out. And hopefully Anthony will figure in that finish. He has never finished outside the top 10 in any of our races. And again, this morning, he will be right in the mix for that finish. I think he was 3rd or 4th last week. So coming through the field really nicely, and often likes to put down an early attack just to shake the field up. Shout out to him, Johnson, and the other athlete there in the yellow earlier, I've just forgotten his name at the moment, that lit this race up, because that chase back now on Zwift Live is back to over a minute behind. So with Corey Dams leading that, and a whole heap of other athletes in there as well.
Got it. We've got some love coming through here for Alessandro Sproul on Zwift Community Live as well. So Kosovic giving a good shout out there. So you can support family members, mates, whatever. You can see them all in action here on the live on the Courage. And who doesn't like a bit of 15 seconds of fame?
Absolutely.
Mate? So Glavac sitting in there. We haven't seen Glavac's name pop up too much in the peloton. We've got a draft bus power up being played there, I reckon, by Sproul at the moment. Know that kit pretty well at this point. And rolling through to the front there, we've got Sinclair just working his way through to the front, and the rider's now starting to apply some pressure on this big downhill. A lot of aero tuck positions. That's sort of that genuine, not last chance, but certainly one of the last chances-ish to just try and get that heart rate down, probably a few beats per minute. But Lenoir there off the front. Yes,
Lenoir, we've definitely seen him before as well, as Riser rolls through the Bateman's Bike Co. rider. We have to remember that's Riser, not Bateman's Bike Co. So rolling through to the front, and Juan Araldo in the maroon and black this evening or this morning. He is right in that group, finished 3rd in that sprint finish last night. So expect to see him light things up as well as they roll through this course.
Check out out the Colour Sports podcast. We've got the podcast dropping every month, and just recently we had the co-founder of Training Peaks, Dirk Friel. Geez, if there's been a more influential surname than Friel in endurance sports, I'll go he. So we talk about all things endurance and some of his days on the pro circuit, rolling shoulder to shoulder with Armstrong and Hincapie, those sorts of guys. So pretty interesting stories. So check that out. Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your podcast.
Here's
so
the
here
attacks,
we go, here
10%.
off the front. Z Johnson now laying it down, waiting for this chance at 8% here, rolling through to the front. Baldwin, Stretton and Johnson now off the front. So these guys will deep as if you give them more than 4 or 5 seconds, they're going to be hard to rein in if they can start to work together as well.
Yeah, Boniface has realised that.
Boniface doesn't like that either, so he's responded. So Boniface, Stretton and Johnson off the front.
This might be us.
Three of the better riders, certainly, that I've seen. And Baldwin there, just at the front of the chase pack, now back 2-3 seconds. But these three riders right here, they are going to be very hard to chase down if they can start to take turns.
Yeah, they're very experienced as well. Watch these times start to blow out. So 6 seconds now back to Baldwin and Ferrari and a few other riders there. But no, Glavac now, we're just following with him. He's only 3 watts a kilo. So not putting it down to bring this chase back. And then Day there goes straight through and says, I'll take him back. Thank you, driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to work them back. Ciano, Sinclair, can they work these three riders back? The three riders, quality. Boniface in there, of course. Stretton in there.
They're pushing huge numbers, 9.7 watts a kilo from Stu. Look at this lead pad. There's 3 riders off the front, all in orange lights. They're trying to establish this lead and take it right through to the finish. 9 watts a kilo there. Boniface staying right at the front of that group. Johnson just sitting in, having a breather. Dalton Stretton there. He's going to roll around any set. Here comes that Johnson right through the front again. They're working turns together.
Yeah, let's watch this work together. So let's see. It's a bit harder, obviously, in game world, so to speak, to roll turns because unless they've got a little group together, but I'm not sure that would be the case. So they've almost got to try and work together with the app. So to do a little flick of the elbow. You can flick the elbow on the app, believe it or not. But interesting to see here, these three riders all with at least 100 races of experience, you would think. And probably maybe 1,000 between them because Boniface as well, just sitting there at the back.
Yeah, and you looked like both Stretton and Johnson road riders, like prolific road riders in Australia. So look for them. They'll have huge engines, and they've taken that out to 9 seconds now. Ooh. And if this gets any longer, watch for Brett Boniface to just sit in and hug a wheel because he is the sprinter in this group out of the 3.
Yeah, they can all. Well, they're all high quality riders. 11 seconds back. Well, I don't want to call it too early, but that may be curtains on the chase pack. We've seen it close down before, but we've never seen such high quality, high rated riders in a breakaway like this. This is the 3rd week in a row we've seen a breakaway in a Koa Sports Warrior race with about 5 kilometres to go. So it's great to see. It's great to see we just don't have that rolling maul. There's that rolling turn as well. So Johnson
nice
now
there.
rolls through to the front, starting to put a little bit of pressure down. Boniface and Stretton just trying to hang on. But these 3 guys now 12 seconds back. Not sure whether they're going to close this down. So it's going to be, I'd say this will be the podium, provided they all start to work together, which they seem to be. Johnson just saying, come on, boys, we need to keep lifting and applying the pressure. There goes Boniface out of the saddle. Bridges back across and Stretton responds.
Yeah, great racing here. This is unbelievable. So it's a bit of cat and mouse going on, but that's out to 14 seconds now. And no one in that group behind really laying it down to bring it back. Maybe they can't. Maybe when these guys are off the front pushing 12 watts a kilo as they go over these little rises, they can't bring it back. So 17 seconds now. We'll stay with these front 3. This is going to be a great finish to call, I'll tell you that. We've only got about 3 kilometres to go, 3.5 kilometres to go. So these guys will not roll around. They're still absolutely heaving it around. So Johnson, Boniface, and Stretton, the 3 riders there. You got Johnson in the red jersey, Stretton in the black with the pink bike, and Boniface in the green dropouts jersey. And we've got 66% chance here of the Australians taking the chockies.
Yeah, Boniface so strong with any elevation. Absolutely, really, really strong. So if it comes down to that last sort of 20 seconds, look out. But 12 seconds back, hard to see them catching, but they are just closing. They're starting to apply. You might as well now, because if you leave it any longer, it shut the gate on the race. So they need to start to sit up here. They're just doing so. You got 3.4 watts per kilo at Stretton, so they probably need to push a little bit harder, take a few few more turns off the front. But here we go. Stretton, Boniface and Johnson asking the question. Just 8 seconds now back to the chase pack. Starting to grind that back. They've closed 7 seconds inside 90 seconds.
Yeah, so definitely burning the bickies to get back, but we'll see how this one all lights up. They're just about to come past another rider. That is not an attack off the front, but that gap is definitely coming back. 6 seconds now. Day, Glavac, Lanier, Baldwin, Sproul, they're all working together.
Couple of Tasmanians, couple of Tassies up the front here as well. Beautiful training ground down it is in Tasmania at the moment. I'm sure it's beautiful and balmy.
I always love, Tim, that I always love it when, so this comment comes from Sally Stretton. Now, being 19, obviously. I'm going to say that that's Dalton's mum, and it's always good to get your mum watching and throwing through a comment on the old Facebook Live.
Absolutely love it. This is the unique opportunity for people to watch their kids race as well. 9 seconds back now, 10 seconds, they can see them now. So I remember just 2 minutes ago at this distance, you couldn't see them. Can they close this down? Boniface in the green. You got Johnson there on the orange Tron bike, different coloured Tron bikes if you don't mind, and Stretton there sitting back there in the orange cap as well. So 3 riders, 2 from Tasmania and Boniface. Cap has got his hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, Greg. They're working really well, and I don't think they're going to be able to. The chasing group's going to be able to close because these 3 just rolling turns, saving their legs and taking the turns on the front. It's going to come down to the finish.
Could come down to a power up.
Absolutely.
It could definitely come. So if you don't have one and say Boniface has got the feather or someone's got an aero and someone's got nothing, it could come down to how the power up is played because it'd be hard to split these lads. These are 3 high quality riders here working their way to the finish in the Coa Sports Warrior race. Final kilometres here coming up. A chance to pick up another power up soon. But yeah, really starting to roll together. They don't like that chase pack, so they've pushed that back out to 13 seconds. It closed to 7, so they've definitely got an eye over their shoulder of that chase pack.
Yeah, and absolutely. And I've put the kiss of death on Anthony Ciano. He's rolling around at 1:30 behind and not his day whatsoever. So I'm very sorry, mate. That is the first time you're ever going to finish out of the top 10 in our races. I'm a bit disappointed, a bit flat about that. So anyway, he'll be back. Maybe he got a call, Tim. Maybe he got a home loan call from the Combank.
Something like that. But such is the gap, we may even be able to go back and call the second finish of the chase pack. Maybe, just maybe. But we're certainly going to stay with these front riders because this is high quality Zwift racing. So Stretton there out of Team Aero, Z, Johnson and Boniface. A couple of Tasmanians as they start to work their way through this Sprint Com. And you can see the Sprint Com banner there up in the distance, the green one, so that's a chance there to either dump a power up. So let's see if any of the 3 dump them. So if they don't, chances are they've got what they want. But here comes Boniface, lays it down early. Here's an attack by Boniface. You're going to have to respond right now. 10.4 watts per kilo.
Yeah, and Stretton and Johnson both trying to respond there, and they have. They've brought him back. So just a little bit of a jab there from Boniface, and just to test out the legs and drag a few more watts out of these guys' legs. So they'll all come back together again, and a lot of cat and mouse going on here. Stretton just hanging off the back there, but pushes 14 watts a kilo just to come back onto the wheel of Boniface, and we're 17 seconds back now to that chase group. So Johnson rolling through to the front. Who's it going to be, guys? We've got one pick each. Kappa, quick.
Boniface for me.
I'll go Stretton.
So I'm on Johnson.
All right, there we go.
Johnson.
There we go. That's perfect. So here we go. Boniface leads the charge, laid down the challenge there across the sprint com and asked the question, are you ready to go? Stretton rolls up through on the outside there, takes the lead. We got Johnson there on the inside on the orange Tron bike. So here we go. A group of 3. Who is going to fire the shot first? It'd be too early to go now, you'd think. But here they go. They go over across the cobbles and line it up for this sprint finish with a nice little uphill burn.
Yeah, they took the right-hander last time around. They'll take the left-hander here and start to hit that climb. So, Tim, over to you to bring him home. This is going to get lit up any second. And we see this chase pack. I'm not too sure if these numbers are right. If we can just swing around, Kappa. But can we see them coming? No, they're too far back in the distance. So
yeah, 7 seconds. Here we go. Boniface puts his head down. Aero power helm up play. So first shot being played there by Boniface. Winding up now 4%. Asked the question early. Can he hang in there? Stretton's going to have to put his teeth in the ring. Boniface, 14.3 watts per kilo. Kappa over the top. Spoiler alert. Boniface, too good, too strong. Takes the chocolates. Zach Johnson, maybe for third. Here comes the chase pack. They've got all their heads down. Baldwin, In there, Araldi
Araldo.
takes fourth. It looks like Araldi's taken fourth, but Boniface, that uphill finish.
Let's,
If there's any gradient whatsoever and you're a Zwift racer, you need to go earlier with Boniface. You need to ask the question earlier. Easy for me to say because I wouldn't have even made the first lap, mind you.
Absolutely, yeah. So these guys we're with now have still got about 3. They've got that top loop to go around, so 3 Ks to go for those guys. And what a great finish and an absolute cherry ripe one for a commentator to call, Tim. It was a great call. And Kappa, he just went, he's got it.
That's 2 in a row now, I'd like to point out that I called.
Okay, easy. Geez.
Hang on, Kappa, just pick your head up off the floor, mate. It's
wobbled.
just wobbled off.
Just wobbled off.
It's just wobbled off. So we'll call this finish through, Greg. Let you have this one, mate, because that's going to be nice and easy. All in the same colours.
We've got about 5
and names
minutes
that you don't know.
We've actually got about 5 minutes to go for these guys. So they've got to complete that top loop. So they've taken the right-hand turn. They've got to come back and take the left-hander. So we might have just missed as these riders split off. It's very hard for Kappa to fly that chopper. But we'll stay with them for a minute. And so good, says Rob Walker. Thanks for dialing in, mate. And 900 watt La Premiere coming through from Jerome. So huge watts as it got dropped.
So I'll just call these guys for a second. Maybe we can pull up on Zwift Power as well some of the results there. They might be starting to push through, or we'll go to the app. We'll try and cover the top 10 in the remaining parts of this race for some of these riders here. So let's go through some of these riders at the moment we're looking at. We've got Cryogen in there, one of the riders. I'm not sure of the name, of course. B. Smith of Team Relentless. Moya in there, Brausch. So we've got obviously a pack of 5 riders here, and it looks like it'll be on for young and old. Now, B. Smith of Relentless, actually, I think we called him either last week, the week before here. Smart sprint
That's our
finisher.
friend Barry. That's our friend Barry, who we did the highlight with the Rhino pre-race, Tim. So that's Barry
Is
Smith.
that right?
Bazza.
Is that right? So there's Bazza there just rolling on through in the Team Relentless kit. And judging by the avatar, a bit of a beast of a sprinter. So I'm not sure how much that 10% finish line is going to hurt, but we'll soon find out. So Brush there, towards the back. And you've got the 2 riders there, Moya and of Cryogen, just rolling through to the front. Training Peaks kit there of Moya.
Might just run through the top 10. We are not quite through yet on ZP, but we'll run with the app. And taking the chocolates was Brett Boniface. Great finish. Zach Johnson, he laid it down early. Just snuck in for second place. Rolled past Dalton Stretton there. Araldi, 4th place. Took 3rd last night. 4th this morning. How good's this? Rick Charlesworth in 5th place. So that sprint, that second chase pack got back to 7 seconds. So it always lights up late with those guys. Downing in there for 6. Creel, AHDR, he would have been streaming away there. He was in 7th place. Baldwin, 171 beats a minute average, and look for this. He had the highest output of power. Sorry, him and Johnson, but didn't quite get it right tactically. So in 8th place. Ferrari, the Legion, in 9th place. And rounding out the top 10 was the great Cormy McKeough, the Irishman who hails out of the US of A.
Not surprised Baldwin there had such a high watts per kilo because he was the one that joined Johnson there on that first lap. So just absolutely lighting it up and burning up. They probably needed a couple more riders to come across, the likes of Stretton and Boniface. But such is the experience. Like, now it's just a bit early for my liking, but you never really know. Guys like Johnson, they just might be using this as part of a training ride as well because they're probably going to do another 2-hour session potentially. So
he might be popping into our next event, which is going to start in 12.5 minutes, which is the 8 or 10 lapper around Crit City. So really good to see a heap of athletes jumping in there as well. And these guys now just on a K to go as they take this left-hander coming up very shortly, and they'll line up for their finish. And come on, Bazza. We give you a highlight, mate. We want to see a new FTP recorded on that broadcast FTP. So huge, really good shout out to some of these guys. Moya, we've got a couple of Cryogen. We've got Davis in there, an A-grader. He's still punching it out there. He's at the front of this group. And then just, Capra, if you can just click on that one there and pick up a name, we have got just C. That'll do us. And then Moya. So we've got Davis there off the front of this group, not too far to go now. He's coming up to the line, not too far away. So no lighting up here from these guys and no power-ups just yet. I'm waiting to see them come through now. Here we go now. Davis, 9 watts a kilo. He lights it up. Here comes Brausch straight across up to his wheel. Here comes C as well, using his power-up perfectly, and the feather coming through there from Smith. Here goes Moya now straight over the front of these guys. He's going to hold it out to the line. Here comes Bazza. Oh, he just missed. He just missed it. So great finish there from those guys. And I've no doubt that Baz has just been lit up a new FTP and a new 20-second power threshold with that effort up to the line. So some unbelievable racing out there over the last 12 hours, guys. And as always, thank you to Kappa for all of your hard work. He's been having steam coming out of that computer for about 26,000 hours now, so really good to see. And how far through the coffee this morning, Kappa?
Got about a quarter left, mate.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Good timing.
Good to hear.
That's well paced. That's well paced coffee drinking. Now we've got a bunch of verifications to do at this conclusion of this broadcast. So check out the results. They'll be up in the next few days. So a bit of data to get through, a few results, and of course the update of the team's leaderboards. So we're 2 rounds down on that verified race, the Coa Sports League race. So and of course we wound up last night with race 3 of the State of Origin for the States, and a bit of a surprise coming out over the next few days from the States. So keep an eye at that from Cycling New South Wales and Queensland. I will hand over to Greg to shut it down, and we'll catch you obviously next week, Greg, but over to you, mate.
I nearly had the headset off. I thought he was going to wrap it all up. But thanks for tuning in. We've had over 450 riders join us in the last 2 races, so great to see. And to the guys getting involved right now, Crit City, 10-minute countdown. Get ready to get ripping and tearing around there in the Coa Sports private race. Looking forward to seeing you next week on the Coa Sports League. Ciao.